Hey guys, it's Friday again. Actually, for me, it's still Thursday because, like I mentioned last week, I'm traveling tomorrow for the EWRI Leadership Weekend. So, an American Society of Civil Engineers is split into these different institutes, and the one for environmental and water engineers is EWRI. And they have a conference every year where everybody meets and everybody has different tasks and committees and things that they want to accomplish that year, different deliverables, or like last year, I think they redid how you calculate curve number. So technical stuff. Um, anyway, they have a conference in April or May, and this time of year they've got their leadership weekend retreat, whatever you want to call it, where a bunch of people are invited to go and meet in, this will be in Reston, Virginia, which is where I think they're headquartered. I'm not sure. So I think every year they invite a couple young professionals or new professionals to represent what they call the next generation. And if you can find it, if I can find it, I might just post it into this video. It's like what ASCE sees as what they need to do to prepare for the next generation coming in and to retain membership and retain civil engineers and happy employees and stuff like that. So yeah, I get to go tomorrow and be in Reston, Virginia. And it's been an interesting week this week here in Texas. If you've been watching the news, you've heard about all of the flooding in Lano, Texas. All of the rivers and the lakes are just so swollen. Yesterday, early this morning, Lake Travis was at 137% full, which, as you can imagine, is very full. I'm not sure how much freeboard is left, and so that's like the top space. So you've got like your dam and the water's in the dam, and the very top edge that sticks out of the water is what they call the freeboard. So I'm not sure how far up the freeboard the water is. They were thinking that today they're going to open all 8 of the gates at Mansfield Dam. They didn't. I think they still have just the 4 open right now. In 1957, they had 6 of the 8 open, and that was the historic record. That they were trying to draw down the lake so fast because if the lake it gets too full, it can overtop the dam, and then it would fail the dam, or there'd be massive flooding if it didn't. So they have to get the lake levels down. They've never used all 8 gates before, so we were thinking they're going to use all 8 today. They ended up not doing it. The lake level's at a steady rate. If it continues to rain a little bit more, that might be a different story tomorrow. So they've been opening the gates at all of the dams in Central Texas. So if I'll put some links in this YouTube video to lcra.org, which they've had a drone out there, and they've been doing some drone footage of some of the gates as they're opening. Or there's a dam in Marble Falls, Texas, which just looks incredible. There's so much water coming over that dam that you just kind of forget how much destruction water can do until you see an image like this. So I've been seeing people post little videos of the rivers, and the rivers are up so high it's out of the bank and it's onto the streets, and you can see just like the tops of the street lights sticking out of the water. Trees are just inundated, lots of water around here. So if you're in Austin, make sure that if you're going to drive somewhere, go to atxfloods.com, which has a really cool little GIS interface where you can pull it up and you can see where all the low water crossings are. You can click on the low water crossings and see their status. They've also got these little cameras around town, and you can click on where a camera is and then see the water going underneath the pedestrian bridge there, which I think it's kind of cool just to see where the river level is and how fast it's going. So that's atxfloods.com, and I have heard that they are changing that. I wonder if I was at a conference or where I was, where I heard a presentation on it, that it's going to be centraltexasfloods.com, because it really is all Central Texas that's captured on the website. But it's a great tool, and it's very sleek to use. Just atxfloods.com. And I mean, you guys all know the saying, turn around, don't drown. I think in Texas we have the people who end up getting stuck in the water or swept away are the larger vehicles that are four-wheel drive. And I guess people just think, I've got this large vehicle, it's going to make it through, it's four-wheel drive, and then they're the ones that get stuck. So definitely check out atxfloods.com, and then go and just make sure you know the weather and what's coming down. There's a lot of rain. It's very beautiful. I really like it. But it's a little crazy out. So it got a little cold this week, like in the 50s and 60s. I came in from St. Louis, flew in, and it was colder here than it was in St. Louis. The cat thinks it's so cold. Every time I sit down, she's like on my lap. Here she is next to me. I have a little space heater that I turned on for her. And at first, she did not like the sound of it or the smell of it. But then I think she realized that it was warm, and so she would sit like 5 feet in front of it. But yeah, she's been my little lap kitty all week. The other night, I was like laying there in bed, and she had crawled not under the covers, but like into the duvet. So there's like the duvet cover with the duvet in it, and she'd like climbed under the cover. I was like cuddled up to me in the duvet. So other things happening this week. It was Diversity and Inclusion Week with my company, which means every day we had a different little activity. So the only one I really participated in was Monday's photo contest, and I put together a photo for the water team in Austin. We do a volleyball tournament every year, and it's actually the volleyball tournament, we help put it together, and it started by 3 of the guys in our office. The same 3 guys still put it together every year, but only one of them still works for us. So anyway, we put together this volleyball tournament, and we always have a team and participate in it, and it brings in just thousands of dollars from all the different engineering companies getting together and playing the volleyball tournament. And we all go out to Aussies, and like the companies normally end up covering all the food and beverages, and they donate, and it's a good time, and people end up donating a little bit more as well. And basically we all donate to Water for People because everyone loves Water for People. I took a picture of us at the volleyball tournament a few years ago. It was the only picture I could find. And at least 3 of the people in the picture don't work for CH Now Jacobs anymore. So I put the names of like everybody who still works for us in it, and then like the rest of our little Austin Water team. And I sent it to some of the supervisors in my office to take a look at, like, hey, if you guys want to, turn this in for the photo contest, feel free. And one of the guys, who is Legacy Jacobs, so he doesn't know everybody in CH, or that came over with CH, he had taken like what I wrote, and he crossed out, he just like deleted out a bunch of people's names. And he was like, we shouldn't have Alex in there because she's not in our office, and we shouldn't have Ricardo in there or Damien in there because Damio's in San Antonio. And I was like, hold on, wait a second. Alex is like one of the few people who still works for us that is actually in the photo that I chose. And it was Ricardo, not Damien. They have the same last name, but also you're kind of being racist if you didn't ask that question. So I don't know if he just thought he knew everybody. Was like, no, you mistaken, this guy's not even in Austin. And I'm like, no, I know exactly who that guy is, and he's a teleworker, and he is in Austin. So I called him out on it. I was like, not gonna put up with that. And so that happened on Monday, and then on Tuesday it was some other day. maybe it was Inclusion Day on Tuesday. Oh, it was We Are Proud Day on Monday. So I have a picture of us being proud of supporting water for people. Tuesday was We Are Inclusive, and so I changed my signature line to say my pronouns, which are she, her. Which was actually something I had been thinking about doing for a while. I went to a panel here in Austin that was put on by Girls Empowerment Network, um, who is an organization that does a lot of work at the girl level to empower girls and have a culture of caring for girls as they grow up all the way through their life cycle. Life cycle, I sound like an engineer. So they had this little panel downtown, which I thought was really neat, that they are empowering girls and also empowering girls by empowering the women that are in girls' lives. So they had this panel where they brought in a couple of different speakers to talk about LGBT stuff, just all around inclusion. And I remember sitting there thinking, this would be really cool if we could have somebody come and present on this to our company. But it's too bad we're in engineering and they wouldn't do this. They wouldn't have somebody come in and speak to the office and give like a little brown bag on being inclusive. And I thought that at the time, especially like knowing Jacobs and how Jacobs is a little hesitant for change and not as inclusive as they like to say they are. I think just by merit of being an engineering company. At the leadership level, they definitely are. At the grassroots level, they're not accepting of change, which is probably why we're having a lot of turnover. But when it came to Inclusivity Day and we got all these presentations and like all these emails from the CEO, I thought, they are trying to like have a step in the right direction, and they're trying to be more inclusive and be more supportive of everybody and encourage people to assume good intent with everybody else and to ask questions and to have more of like this familial culture. And then I thought, I'm going to put my pronouns in my signature. So I did that, and I wrote it up on the board like, one thing you can do today is put your pronouns in your signature. So I don't know how receptive anybody would have been to it or if anybody else did it. But they're in my signature, and nobody has told me no. And I'm going with it because that's kind of how we need to go with this industry. I mean, I've definitely sent emails to people before and wondered, like, I really hope this person that I am talking to at the state, they've got an androgynous name, like, I hope I am addressing them correctly. And it's a little awkward to ask over email or letters, but yeah, I think it would be more inclusive, and it would make people feel more welcome and more valued. And so I'm going to leave it there until someone tells me not to. And if they do tell me not to, I don't know, I would be very unimpressed. I would probably be looking for another job like a lot of other people are. So that's what happened in my office this week and in Austin this week. And we'll see how it goes. So I don't even know what I've been working on. Lots of stuff at the reservoir, some operations and maintenance manuals, a few outstanding construction items that aren't done yet. A bunch of people have seen my little spread in the Civil Engineering magazine, which I think I told you guys about last week. Yeah. So it's out, and people, I guess, are actually reading Civil Engineering magazine, which I think it's cool. I read it. Actually, I skip all the building and transportation stuff. Sometimes I read it, but it's not normally as interesting as some of the water stuff or reading about dams. Everybody likes dams. Everybody likes them a lot right now in Central Texas. There's so much water. Um, so that's been my week. It's been chilly. I've got a cat on my lap. And we're gonna. Oh, kitty.